Hello, this is Meghan Glasgow, and I'm a Managing Director at Navigation Arts. Thanks so much for taking the time to listen to our webinar today about building a successful intranet. We're going to try to keep this fairly short. We know how busy you all are, and we're going to focus on 4 tips or best practices when thinking about either creating a new intranet or revising your existing one. And so we'll stay pretty high level, but it should give you some guidance on how to navigate and help your organization weigh and prioritize the best ways to improve user adoption of your intranet. So there'll be 4 areas that we'll touch on during this presentation. The first one is balancing competing needs. So this is a critical area where many of our clients need a lot of help. With so many options and opportunities to improve or launch a new intranet, it's important for you as a manager or stakeholder in this process to really take a hard look at how do you balance your users' needs with your organization's ability to, one, deliver and maintain the new experience, both from a technology and content perspective, but also 2, your employees' ability to metabolize change. The second element is focusing your efforts, and we're going to spend considerable time talking about how to avoid boiling the ocean and how to illustrate how key buzzwords like productivity or self-service should be better defined. The third is keeping it simple. We've worked on a whole number of intranet projects here at Navigation Arts. Myself, I've managed about 5 of them in the last 18 months, and regardless of industry, we see the same elements over and over again as crucial to the success of your intranet. So we'll go through some of those as well. And then lastly, commit to the cause. And if you're like my clients, you're probably kind of nodding your head, just even saying that, that kind of phrase. Oftentimes at the beginning of a new project, there's a lot of executive buy-in and momentum and enthusiasm for the intranet. But oftentimes that wanes over time. And so how can you help to get your organization to commit to the cause, to not think about your intranet as a one-and-done activity? So without further ado, we're going to go right into balancing competing needs. And so as you look at this slide, the most important thing is to kind of look at that Venn diagram on the left, so user experience, content, and technology. And you want to think of it as kind of a 3-legged stool. As you go through all of the tasks and activities and deliverables and different elements of creating or revising an intranet, you want to keep these 3 legs of that stool balanced. So from a user experience standpoint, there's a great quote, and I always like to use it, but revolution doesn't happen when we adopt new technologies. It happens when we adopt new behaviors. So kind of looking at that, sentence of don't forget the humans. One of the first things you want to do is sit down and interview people, meet with them, and understand who are your users and what are they, what do they need, what are their met needs, what are their unmet needs. Something we often do is actually look and just start to create segments. So whether it's based on a user's role within the company, their geography, a department or division, you could even go as granular as, if they're a brand new employee versus a tenured one. But really understanding what is it that they do, what is it that the content they need, and how do you start to rank and prioritize them. The second element is content. And this is really a huge category. Oftentimes people think content and they just think words. If there were 2 things to keep in mind for this, it's when you're looking at content, you want to, 1, understand what you currently have. And to not think of it as only the content on your intranet. The focus or goal of any intranet is to help employees complete their job tasks more effectively and efficiently. So don't just look at the intranet, but look at maybe there's a finance database or a human resources system that your employees are accessing on a day-to-day basis, again, to complete some basic tasks. So that's kind of number 1. The second thing is, how are you going to maintain this system? So oftentimes our eyes are a little bit bigger than our stomachs when it comes to content. And it'll be really important that as you go through the various steps or stages of your intranet project, to think through and really be I would recommend conservative as to what you think your organization can actually, build and deliver on an ongoing basis. So when you're thinking about content, it's important to keep that in mind. The last is technology.